These are my first yarn purchases of 2026. Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is Slow Crochet. Today, as I record, it is the 17th. I think it's the 17th of January, 2026. And I'm coming to you because I just bought some yarn and I am alone in my house for the first time in a very long time. And so I wanted to take the opportunity with the quiet. I know y'all wouldn't be bothered if there was some other stuff going on, but I just wanted to talk about yarn because no one in my family appreciates it quite as much, and the time that I get to be around my yarny friends in real life is fewer and far between. And I also want to give a big shout out to Miss Ella over at No Catchy Name. She put a post up in her community tab maybe in the last couple of days saying that she just got some yarn at Ollie's, which is like a second run, like a bargain warehouse kind of thing, like when a big store goes out of business or is selling off a lot of something, like Ollie's will come in. I guess similar to like a TJ Maxx or like a Marshalls or TK Maxx maybe in the UK. But anyway, it's kind of like the second run of kind of the nicer stores or even bigger stores. So like when Joann's went out of business, Ollie's was one of the places that got some of the Joann stuff. And that was one of the things that kind of brought me in. Anyway, Ella had posted that Ollie's had some yarn, so I thought, let me just take a few minutes. I had a little bit of time to myself today, and I went out and I bought some yarn. I also bought some yarn earlier in the year, and I haven't talked about it on the channel because I do have it kind of for dedicated purposes, but as I was looking at what's in my stash, that really was a really good thing for me to do because it did show me where I had some missing places and kind of gave me some ideas of the directions I wanted to go in. So I'm going to start with actually what I got at Ollie's because that was the most fun, that's the most recent, and then I'll show the other purchases that I have. So I have been working on this little hexagon scrap blanket, and I've been making it out of 4-weight acrylics. Now, my floppy skein 4-weight acrylics is this. It's not a lot. I do have some like anti-pill acrylics that I could pull from, I guess, but I still have some kind of larger skeins that I can use for larger projects, and I want to make sure that I do that. And really make sure that other projects kind of get like the bulk of that yarn so that when I have scraps, it's truly scraps. I do have some smaller skeins that I have been kind of like, they were like the mini skeins that come in a set. I've been using those as my scrap blanket progresses, and it's this hexagon, kind of small hexagon right here. I learned how to make this from Play Hooky with me, and I can have that linked below. But anyway, when I saw from Ella that Ollie's had this yarn, and in fact, I'd seen in the flyer that they had the yarn, but she really kind of brought it home to me. So anyway, all to say, I went and I got some 4-weight acrylic. That's what I was saying. And it is filling some holes in my stash. And the idea is that I'll make some hats to donate, maybe like 1 or 2 hats per skein. I'm going to aim for 2 hats. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Maybe I'll alternate different styles of hats. But enough talking, let's show the yarn, Mary. I did get this big twist, y'all. Joann's, rest in peace, Joann's, you were wonderful. This neon thing, big twist value, it's 380 yards, 6 ounces. This was the color Green Gecko, and y'all, I don't know if it shows up, like this is neon. This is like glow in the dark practically. But I thought this would be a really fun color in a hat. It would also be a fun color that my children would want to grab from, like when they want to practice crocheting. This would be really fun for them. And it would also be a really fun pop in a scrap blanket. So I got this one. This one was $2.99. And I think Ollie's had sent out, like I'm on their email list, they sent out like a 15% off coupon that's good through the middle of February. So 15% off of that. The other yarn, Ella showed some yarn that was like, oh, it's like a Red Heart Easy. Essentially, I thought it was a 4-weight, but it ended up being a 6-weight. So those were the things that she had shown that I didn't get any of the 6-weight. That's not my favorite. But it just so happened that my Ollies had a lot of Red Heart, this is Flower Power, and the Granny Square yarn. So I know, y'all, this has been out for a long time. You can see it's $4.99 a skein of this, and I got them for 15% off of that. So not the best deal, but not the worst either. I had been looking at this stuff not because I really think it's gonna work, but just because the colors were fun. And they had a bunch of different ones. They had some of them that were the more traditional granny square, like the original, and then some of them were like the flower granny square. I probably will try to do a granny square just to see, like, honestly, I don't think it works very well. Like, I think tension is such an individual thing that, like, I highly doubt it would actually make a proper granny square. But I like those colors. And I thought it would be really fun to do these, to have like a hat made out of this and kind of see how the stitches play out, how the colors play out. I thought it would also be fun to see that in a scrap blanket because you're gonna get so many different colors as you go. Like, one skein is gonna make a really fun kind of scrappy project. And it is kind of designed for granny squares. So like with the granny hexagon, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So I ended up getting 2 of this traditional granny square ones. This one's called Black and Cyberleaf. And this pink one, well, pink is to me the dominant color because it's the strongest color, but it's yellow. It's Soft White and Buttercup Blush. So these 2 are the traditional granny square ones. And then the others that I got were the Flower Power. This one is Bluebell. And the other one is Red Hot Phlox. So all together, I thought adding those in to a scrap blanket, like, you get kind of a good balance there of different shades and tones and colors. It is kind of like primary colors or crayon colors. You know, when you go to a restaurant and they give you a set of crayons to go with the kids menu, there's my point of reference, y'all. But they'll have like these 4 colors, right? So I think it'll be really fun in a scrap blanket. And then add in that neon green, and then all the other like regular, more subdued colors of scraps. That'll be fun. I think it's going to be really fun, and it'll blend in with some of the things I already have going on. So again, the granny square yarn was like $5 a skein, 15% off. I think all told for 5 skeins of yarn, it was right around $20 with that coupon. So not bad, but mostly just fun. Since Joann's is not here, the limitations to yarn shopping are Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Walmart, I suppose. So when Ollie's has it, it's nice to just kind of get out there and see what's available. So there were a whole lot of other colors, but those were the ones that really spoke to me. And so I'm really glad that I came home with those. I found some other stuff at Ollie's too, just to stock up for like Christmas cards for the future, or just little bits and pieces. It is kind of a treasure hunt experience. And so I was really glad that I got to do that. And again, so glad that I got to get some yarn. Other places that I recently went and got yarn. Now, one of them, you heard me actually say them both, Michael's and Hobby Lobby. So I have been thinking about how much crochet I'm able to wear when it's cold, but I really don't have a lot of crochet to wear when it's warm. Part of that is just because I've worked so much with like 4 weights, like that's the weight that's readily available here. And I do love a cotton yarn. However, 4-weight cotton is just too heavy for me. And so I've tried to look for some alternatives. I'm really interested in seeing alternatives, either lighter weight cottons or even some blends. So I did see at Hobby Lobby that they had a blend in a 3-weight. So I got 4 of those at a time when it was 15% off. So I got Yarn Bee Bambootiful. So it's rayon from bamboo. This color is Cerulean Sea. And it is a 3-weight yarn. It's half cotton, half viscose. Sorry, not rayon. Viscose from bamboo. And yeah, I thought this would make a really good warm weather summer top. So a lot of the challenges, pardon the rustling, a lot of the challenges can be with dye lots at Hobby Lobby, and the Hobby Lobby closest to me had 2 different dye lots, but they were pretty close, so I got 2 skeins of each. One of them was like whatever 82 and the other one was 88. So I don't think that you can even really tell on camera what the difference is, but I have noticed with Hobby Lobby, the closer the dye lots are, the better. I don't even think I'm going to have to alternate them, to be honest. Like, I don't think they're that different. I don't think you can really tell. Yeah, whichever one is closer to this light here is the one that looks lighter. I think they're pretty straightforward. But if I were to go to like a different Hobby Lobby to try to get more of this, like if it weren't in like the 80s on the last of that dye lot there, then I probably wouldn't get it because they really do have quite a big variation. But yeah, Cerulean Sea, this one, because I do intend to wear it, you see it's definitely in my color palette. It's that kind of summery, cool tone. It's going to go well the same way, you know, like the aqua and the blue and the white that I'm wearing here. Like, these are the color seasons that I'm going for. Trying to really make sure that when I do make something, number one, since it takes so long to make, that I'm going to enjoy it. And part of enjoying it is knowing that it's in a color that works well for me. So all that to say, I got 4 of these. They are 257 yards a piece. So with 4 of them, I think I'll be able to make either like a little short sleeve or sleeveless, something like that, some kind of top. I am not a fan really of wearing layers in the summer, so that means rather than going with a lacy top, I'm going to go with something more solid, which presents its own problems because crochet tends to not have a lot of stretch to it. So that's something to think about as well. The stitch pattern is going to have to reflect the style of the top. You know, if I want it to be more form-fitting, then I'm going to have to think about tailoring there, just because the fabric doesn't have a lot of stretch when you crochet, more so than knit. Knit is very stretchy compared to crochet in general. Not that there's not hacks and ways around it, but that's kind of the thought process that I'm going to have to go through. But I'll have plenty of time to think about this because I do have works in progress that I want to finish before I get to these. But yeah, in terms of filling a hole in my stash, I didn't have anything like this. And I did get something else. Oh, by the way, I did get these, even though these were essentially $5.50. I got them on a 30% off week, so I think it was around like $16. Yeah, something like that. Let me see, actually. Yeah, it was right at like $16 or $17 for 4 of these. The other yarn that I got recently was from Michaels, and it is Loops and Threads Silky Soft. This one is the rayon from Bamboo. This one is a number 3 light. It is ice blue, and this one is 240 yards. And yeah, it's full on bamboo, full on rayon. So yeah, definitely a different texture there. I will go ahead and say this one was a bit more expensive. These, I think, I don't shop at Michaels very much, to be honest. There's a lot to love about Michaels. I don't know what it is, man. I really wish I did. I wish I enjoyed Michaels more than I do, because Michaels and Joann's were kind of like the 2 main players for me. But I would always default to Joann's for whatever reason. I think Joann's had a greater variety, had greater depth. They really worked at providing some interesting fibers, especially towards the end in their house brand yarn. Michaels, maybe it's just that Michaels closest to me is not as well maintained as I wish it could be. But anyway, yeah, I just don't find myself being like, oh, Michaels, that's where I want to shop. I would do Joann's, I would do Hobby Lobby. Anyway, all that to say, I did some research online and realized that Michaels did have, in their Loops and Threads brand, did have a bamboo yarn, and in a 3-weight and in a lighter color. So yeah, I did get 4 of these. They were $6.99 a piece. And again, because I'm not really a Michaels shopper that much, I didn't have points, I didn't have discounts. So yeah, for 3 of them, it was like $28 plus tax. So these things were more expensive than really all the yarn I got. But I think it's a beautiful color. Let me just show the contrast there. So yes, still in the blue and pale, but definitely different colors. So that's important to me. I don't want to have just like all the exact same things. And of course, I will be choosing a different pattern. I can see right now, look how that is unwinding. Can you see that? This should be interesting to work with. This almost reminds me of those cakes of yarn that are like 4 threads kind of spun together, like super loosely spun. That should be interesting with working this up. I'll have to be really thoughtful about that when choosing a pattern. Now I have been looking at some patterns. There's some patterns I've been saving in like my Ravelry saving stuff, my favorites. We'll see when I get to it. But in the meantime, again, this is a fiber that I didn't have. I have worn some rayon. I think I have a couple of just commercially made shirts in rayon, and I think it's fine. I'm not sure that it's like more breathable noticeably than cotton. And honestly, I haven't done enough research in the differences in how bamboo is processed versus how cotton is processed. Like, I'm not sure which one, number one, is like a more environmentally friendly fiber from plant down to production, you know, because even like the production process, there's a lot that goes into turning a plant into a yarn or into a fabric. And like there's all these different opportunities for chemicals or pollution or whatever. So all that to say, I haven't done the research. The fact that it comes from a plant in theory means it's going to behave better for the environment than an acrylic will, since that's plastic. But you could even, hot take, you could even make the argument that petroleum comes from the earth. Like everything we have actually has its roots in nature, because the earth is kind of a closed system for the most part, right? I'm not going to go into space. Y'all, I'm rambling so much. All I'm trying to say is I have not worked with pure bamboo before. I know that Lion brand with Kobu or Trubu, those seem to be like really easily, readily accessible. I do intend to get a hold of either Kobu or Trubu, but I think one of those, I think Walmart carries those. So I just need to hit Walmart at the right time to get some of that. And that would kind of fill out my yarn space in terms of like maybe 3, trying the booze, right? Trying bamboo as a fiber to work with and seeing how it plays out, not only to crochet with, but also to wear. Anyway, I've been rambling way more than just showing off yarn though. But so I guess this is kind of a chatty video talking about some of my intentions, some of my thought process behind the things that I'm excited about in this new year, because you don't buy yarn with the expectation that you're not going to use it. Like for me, I have projects in mind, and that's why I bought the yarn, and also seeing the holes in the things that were missing in my stash, and it's exciting. It's fun to think about. Now the only thing I need to do is find the time. So I'm gonna, with that, say goodbye right now because I want to edit this video and I want to be able to connect with y'all. I do want to hear y'all. Do you have thoughts on how you shop for yarn? Like, do you shop for yarn when there's a sale? Is that like the most important factor to you? Do you shop for yarn when you have a project in mind? Is that more important to you? Or do you shop for yarn because it's things that your stash is missing? Or is it kind of a combination of all three? I think I've kind of hit all three of those right now. Like Ollie's was definitely the sale. That was like an opportunity that's not always going to be there. They don't always have yarn. But I also did have a project in mind. And then again, with these bamboos, that's something that I didn't have in my stash, which I guess you could say the same for acrylic as well. So all that to say, that's me. I'd love to hear from you because it's really interesting to me to hear our different approaches to why we choose the art supplies that we choose, why we choose the yarn that we do, and what's that process like. It's so beautiful to be able to connect with people and talk about the stuff about just like why we do what we do and how that plays out in our creativity, in our art, and ultimately in our hearts. So for all of that, thank you so much for listening to me as I ramble about yarn, as I talk about this in such an excited way. Like there's so much hope for these projects and these beautiful things. I'm excited to get to do it. I'm excited to share it with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for your comments and your likes and subscribes and all of that really encouraging YouTube type stuff. And if for whatever reason I'm not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I do appreciate you, and I do hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.